It's getting harder and harder to be a smoker in Tasmania. The cost of a packet of cigarettes is rising, and there are fewer and fewer places people are allowed to light up. Even so, for 25% of the population, smoking is still an important part of everyday life. But the Tasmanian Government has declared war. It's widening its campaign to reduce the state's smoking rates to 10% by 2020. Fiona Breen reports.
I've been cutting back a lot lately. I'm going to start trying to quit again, but at the moment it's just cutting back, and I've cut back. I used to smoke a pack a day, so I'm down to about 3 packs a week now, so I'm definitely cutting back.
I've been smoking for about 2 years. I started after my Year 12 exams, naturally. I do realise that there are bad things about it, but yeah, because of my age, I'm like, it's okay. Of course I'm invincible.
About 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds are lighting up, more than any other age group in Tasmania.
Unfortunately, Tasmania's got the worst smoking rates in Australia.
Interstate, the number of smokers is dropping. In Tasmania, rates have been steady for years. That's worrying health professionals and the state government.
More than 50% of people who start smoking become addicted to it. Mostly that occurs in adolescence, before the young people's brains have matured, before they can really reason as an adult, before they can make really well-considered decisions about whether to go down this track or not.
A telephone survey of more than 6,000 Tasmanians across the state last November has reinforced the theory that life circumstances play a big part in smoking rates.
The income question was asked in the survey, and a whole lot of other questions about numbers of people in the family, a whole lot of other health questions are related, as well as occupational status, education. Those things were all looked at in this survey.
The survey found that the better educated a person was, the less likely they were to smoke. 63% of smokers surveyed had secondary education. 36% had a tertiary qualification.
It seems that the differences are not about which part of Tasmania you live so much geographically as your socio-economic group that you're in. And that's where we have to figure out how do we try and target these things.
The head of Drug and Alcohol Services in Tasmania is alarmed at the statistics. He's involved in a ramped-up campaign to reduce Tasmania's smoking rates.
Cigarettes or nicotine is rated by many specialists as right at the top in terms of addictiveness, certainly in terms of the proportion of people who start using this drug and then go on to use it on a daily basis. It's very high.
Teenagers smoking is part of the motivation behind the state's 12 proposed legislative changes to the Public Health Act.
Hitherto, the tobacco industry has clearly targeted young people with its promotional activity to begin smoking when they're most vulnerable.
Restricting the display of cigarettes and the sale, banning smoking near playgrounds and sports fields is taking smoking out of the view of children.
We're not saying prohibit it at this stage because we know that brings all sorts of problems, but making this product less accessible, less popular if you like, less seductive in terms of the promotion and so on, denormalising smoking will be important for reducing smoking to below 10%, which is what the National Preventative Health Task Force has set as a target for Australia by 2020.
After years smoking, Roger Joseph gave up the habit in 1994, but it took him numerous attempts.
It's a very simple thing that you try and give up because you know that you really don't want to smoke, but there's always another one in the pack.
It wasn't until his health started to suffer that he was successful. 16 years on, the cravings are still there.
Well, I'm still addicted. 16 years that I haven't had a cigarette, and I can still wake up in the morning feeling as if I've smoked a cigarette, having dreamt of them. So you're always a smoker. It just gives you that hit, that little high. Your body craves the nicotine, and there's no escaping it.
He supports moves to limit the places people can smoke, but he wants more one-on-one support for people trying to quit. Things are changing. The state government is employing 2 addiction specialists in the south. Another will be recruited for the north. Specialised addiction nurses have also been employed to support a grassroots anti-smoking campaign. They're encouraging health professionals like physiotherapists, GPs and nurses to use a new online guide to help them approach their clients about their smoking habits.
A stands for asking patients whether they smoke or not. The B is for providing brief intervention to people who smoke, and the C is for offering cessation support.
The model was developed in New Zealand, and it's a simple model that we're encouraging and teaching all health practitioners to adopt in providing smoking cessation support to their patients.
Funding for Quit Tasmania has increased. It already gives out nearly 5,000 quit kits a year. It's preparing for a rise in demand. It's also appointed a new quit line advisor, ready for the onslaught. The next move is likely to target social networking sites.
People are using the internet, social media, Facebook and all of that, and we have to figure out a way of reaching people possibly through those media now.
None of these moves are convincing Jane Rankin-Reid to give up. A smoker since the age of 14, she's tried it all.
Oh, look, I find it one of the most unsympathetic medical causes there is. I'm supposed to take my tobacco money and go and buy unsubsidised products which aren't tested. Some of them give us allergies, others have huge side effects. We've seen some of the problems. Have kind of debates with doctors about addiction versus choice. It's really, really difficult to give up.
She believes smokers are unfairly targeted and marginalised.
I think we have to be more sympathetic. It's an illness. It's an illness that's still available to assume over the counter. There's no doctor in this town virtually that hasn't gone through a med school, which is heavily subsidised by smokers' taxes.
Will Jane Rankin-Reid try again to give up? Probably, but in the meantime, she's saying give smokers a fair go.